So in our last video, we started making a phone holder, and we made the front part of our phone holder. So we made this little chunk right here, but we need to make the back part. So today we're going to make the back part. I'm going to show you how to figure out the fit for that, and then we'll assemble it. So let's get started. So I'm back here in my model. I've already got this part done, so I need to make a new part. So my new part, I'm going to click on the little plus down here, create part studio, and I need to make these a little bit more readable. So part studio 1 doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm going to right click this, and I'm going to say front of folder. And I'm going to rename part studio 2, right clicking, rename, we're going to call this holder leg. Cool. There we go. Now let's try it out. So we have some different ways of thinking about making this particular part. So what I could imagine doing, and I'll do this in a different color. What I could imagine doing here is I could think about maybe doing the part, extruding it down, and then I could remove two little chunks in there, so I could extrude cut this way and eliminate that so that I end up with this part. I could do it a different way. What I could do is make the 2D shape like this, like that, and then I could extrude that way and turn it into 3D. So either way would work. I think I'm going to go with this second way because I can kind of focus in on designing this dimension on one sketch. That seems a little bit cleaner than doing it in two parts here. But something maybe you noticed here is there's multiple ways to build these parts, right? Because we're essentially making something in 3D, but you're starting with 3D. So how you start with the 2D to move to the 3D can vary. So think about it a little bit before you get started. Again, this gets back to the idea of design intent. Instead of just modeling it, we're really thinking about how we're intending to use it. And what modifications we might want to make later. Because how you make it in the get-go can make it challenging to edit in the future. So let's get started. So what I said is that I was going to make kind of the overall shape. So overall shape is going to look something like this. So we're going to just use the line tool. This, this, this. So I'm just going to quickly sketch it out. You see I snapped to get that line vertical, and go back. So I didn't pay a bit of attention up here to getting this perfect. Why? Because what do I know geometrically? I know that this line and this line need to be equal to each other. So I'm actually just going to go up here and I'm going to say, hey, constrain this line to be equal to that line. So now, no matter what I do to the part, so however I change the shape, these two lines are always going to be equal to each other. I don't have to do that for the vertical. This line and this line will always be equal to each other, just given how the other part of it's constrained. Likewise, this line and this line are always going to be equal to each other. So I don't have to do that for every line in here. But I will start making some modifications. So let's see. In my drawing, I said that the length here was something I needed to figure out. So I'm just going to make a guess. So I'm going to say that the length, whoops, not equal. The length there, we're just going to call it 2 inches and see see what it looks like when we put it in our model. The next part is this tab here. So I know that I'm going to have, I'm imagining in here, this is where this fits through the front of the holder. So that's 1/8 of an inch. So I'm going to say this is going to stick out how much from my phone. I said in my drawing, I said it's going to stick out 1/4 of an inch. So what I'm imagining here is that the distance from here to the tip of the lip, right? If this is 1/8 and this is 1/4, that whole distance is around 3/8 of an inch. So that means when we're building our sketch here, lost my mouse for a second, there we go. We'll have this distance is 1/8 plus 1/4. Nice thing is I did the math on my document, but I can actually do the math here. So I can say, all right, my material dimension is 1/8 of an inch, and I want to stick out 1/4 of an inch. So I can just say plus 1/4, press enter, and it did that for me. Puts a little f in front because it did some math, so it means it's a function. But look how cool that is. So now I have the little lip that's going to hold my phone. I've got almost everything done. I just need to define a couple more things. I need to define my overall width. My overall width, it doesn't have to match the width of my actual phone holder itself, but I'm going to make it match up. So I think I called that 2.5 inches. And then you're probably trying to figure out, well, what's still blue here? So we can move this around. Ah, okay. So the width of this is still blue. And so if we go back to the sketch, you'll see that my slot is actually 1 inch wide. So let's go ahead and say this is going to be 1 inch. This as 1 inch. And everything turned black. That's great. So we're going to extrude this into 3D. I'm going to just turn this so I can see it. Change the direction. I can actually click on the arrow and it will change the direction. The depth will be the thickness of my plywood, which will be 1/8 of an inch. And voila, now I have a little slotted piece that I can put into my phone holder. So next part here is to put this together to see what it looks like. So we'll do that in a follow-up video. So thanks for listening.